morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
My camera's off center.
That's funny. We were just talking for like the last 5 minutes and neither one of us noticed that till now.
And I was like, way up.
Well, first Monday of October officially, which is crazy. We're getting closer and closer to those holidays. We're starting to really kick things off. I mean, I know you haven't got snow yet, have you?
No, it's beautiful here still. So it's cool in the morning right now. So it's very confusing for the children because in the morning it's like 5 degrees Celsius. So like it's cold in the morning, but this afternoon it's supposed to be 22 Celsius. So there's this like massive, so in the morning they basically could wear winter jackets. I mean, we're from Canada, so we're still basically just in sweaters. But we could wear winter jackets in the morning, and by the afternoon you could easily be wearing shorts. So it's this like crazy like weather system right now, but we're loving every second of it. And
Yeah, well, I know there's a cold snap in like the warmer states in the U.S., like at North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Like I have clients up in there, and they're like, "It's freezing," and I mean, obviously, relative to what freezing means, what I feel like freezing is now, which you are like, "Yes, it's short and tank top weather." Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, April. How are you guys doing? We're just super pumped.
I'm gonna convert for our American friends. So 5 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So in the morning, we're sitting at about 41 is our morning temperature. And then our afternoon temperature, not 522 degrees, we'd be boiling. Our afternoon temperature is somewhere around 71. So 40 to 70s is like...
Yeah, it's a big swing. It's a big swing. It's definitely. But it's nice because like you get enjoying some more sun, where in October, I got a memory this morning on my Facebook that there was like 150 feet of snow not a few Octobers ago.
Last year there was snow this time of year. That like in 2019 there was snow. So I mean 2020, for the crazy year that it is, at least in Alberta, we're thankful for the October weather. Yes. So we'll see if it continues. Fingers crossed.
Yes, well, that's what it's all about, right? Being grateful for what you have versus what you can't control, which is the weatherman, damn weatherman. All right, guys, so today we are talking about strong is the new sexy. And it's funny because Robin, who makes all of our shirts and all of our great tank tops and stuff like that, she has a towel that we all got that says strong is the new sexy. And I love it because I use it all the time because it really is true, right? We think about all of the reasons why we might exercise, right? And of course, the reasons why can be from like, I want that six pack, I want to look a certain way, I want to do all those great things, which is amazing. But when it comes down to the importance of strength training, it is all about the function, right? Strong, functional bodies.
So just a funny little story to start us off. Several years ago, before I had children, when I had a lot more time in my world, I hired a personal trainer, and I worked with this personal trainer for like almost 2 years. And I remember all the time that all I wanted was like a flat tummy, that I was like, all I want is a flat tummy. So why are we working shoulders right now? Like, I don't care about these. Like, this doesn't, and then I remember once I got to my goal of like, the weight and the look that I wanted to have, I was in love with like my arms and how they looked and how strong I was and how I could lift things and carry things. And it was just this whole thing of like, at the time of doing all of that, I didn't care about what my arms looked like. But then it was like, there wasn't just the vanity part of like, wow, look at these arms. But it was like, I didn't need people to open jars for me anymore. And I didn't need people to carry my stuff for me. I could carry the big bag of dog food from like the pet store and like all by myself. So it was such a big thing to be functionally fit.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because, I always joke about like the male perspective of strength, and we always laugh. It's like what they see in the mirror, right? The chest and the arms, that's what they want. They don't really worry about the legs. They don't really worry about the back. And, we used to call them, I have a friend who was very big into this, and I used to say they were show muscles, right? Show muscles, not functional. And I remember we were camping one time and we had to move a picnic table. Well, those picnic tables are heavy, and he's there with his monster muscles and he can't pick up the picnic table. So then I'm like, okay, let's do this. And he's just like, what? And I'm like, yeah, show muscles don't do anything. Mm-hmm. Functional muscles actually do. And that's the big difference. And again, not to take away from how you might want to look and anything like that. Super valuable for you if that's what is going to motivate you. But having the strength, having the ability to functionally do things in our world is the most important reason why we really encourage strength training. It does help with your metabolism. It does, of course, help burn calories before and after, during, all of those things. There's some amazing, amazing benefits for strength training, but nothing beats living a life that you can do things on your own. You don't have to worry about injuries. You don't have to think about, well, if I do that, will I hurt myself, right? Those kind of things. And if you've ever lived in that world, whether it be an injury that set you back, whether it be just not strength before, excess weight on that body, it is hard, right? Something as simple as walking up and down the stairs, is a struggle, where functional strength is those type of things. Picking up your groceries and carrying them from the car, right? You went to, yes.
Michelle's weekend husband to save her back. Her suitcases do weigh a lot, and there's many of them. And yes, Christine can tote them around like a pro.
Absolutely. And those are the things, right? That's the big part of Strong is the New Sexy. And that's why we want to talk about it a little bit, because, I don't even know, it was 2 years ago now, Christina, when you hurt your knee?
Yeah.
Right?
I literally bent down to help my son put his pants on in the morning, and snap, crackle, pop, my knee blew out. And it was like 2.5 months of rehab on my knee and being down and out. And it was a long time. And then after that, I had said to Lindsay, what can I do to prevent this from happening? Because I was not good at working out back then. And Lindsay said, you need to build the muscles around that knee. Like, you can't actually strengthen your knee, but it's all the stuff around your knee. So I have focused so much since right around then on building muscle. And I mean, sometimes still my knee will be like, oh, I'm a little weak today. But for the most part, I have had no problems with my knee as long as I'm kind to my knees and listen to them when they tell me to stop jumping or running or doing those things.
And that's the big thing, right? I often hear and I speak to people who are like, oh, my knees, my back, my ankles, my shoulders, all of these things. And as Christina said, you can't do anything. Like, for example, your shoulder is a ball and socket joint. It allows you to move around because we can move our shoulder in multiple different ways. There's ligaments and tendons in and around there. We can't do anything about those. We can't do anything about the actual joint itself. But guess what? There are tons of muscles, right? You have your shoulder, which has the front, the back, the side. You have your trapezius, which runs along here. You have your biceps and your triceps, which attend into there. So you can actually strengthen the muscles in and around the joint that's going to help in the long run. Our lower back is a big one. We hear that a lot. I sit for long periods of time. I stand for long periods of time. I sleep for long periods of time. Oh, and then I wake up, my back is really sore, right? Our lower back tends to get neglected because a lot of people are just like, well, there's not really anything you can do. Well, yes, there is, of course. But the other thing is that we often, as Christina said, when she was at her personal trainer years and years ago, I just want a flat belly. I just want a flat belly. Well, that usually starts with people being like, let's just do crunches. Let's just do core work. Let's just do this. Let's just do that. And the overextension of doing that will also affect the lower back. So we are constantly looking for ways to make sure that our life is lived pain-free, which some of you are like, I don't even know what you're talking about, which I understand, right? We often have excess, well, especially weight on your knees or your hips or stuff like that. That's going to play a part into it. Limitations, we know we have people who have had back surgeries, knee surgeries, ankle surgeries. But as I always say, the best way to prepare for any surgery is exercise. And the best way to recover once you've been cleared from any surgery is exercise. So it really is such a huge part of everything we do.
And it's really interesting. So those of us that have lost substantial amounts of weight through surgery or just on your own losing weight, you also have to consider the redistribution of that weight and how that plays on your joints and everything. So the stronger you can make those muscles in supporting things and making those changes, your body will actually recover from that weight loss and all of that weight that you've had on your joints and everything for so many years. The stronger you can build those muscles. So you should be working out in your journey to be able to support your new body. And then for many of us, tummy tucks or plastic surgery are a big thing after this extreme weight loss too. And so I've had a tummy tuck. And I remember talking to my surgeon and then talking to Lindsay when I was preparing for my tummy tuck. And my surgeon had said, the stronger you can make those core muscles going into surgery, the better your results will be and the better your recovery will be. So I worked my tail off to make that tummy really strong and make those core muscles really strong going into surgery. My recovery was a breeze. I actually had a very, very easy recovery. And now my core muscles are so strong. I don't even know. I know Ben one time tested how long I could hold a plank, but I could hold a plank for a really long time. And so my core muscles are really strong. But part of it was the preparation I did going into that surgery And then of course going after the surgery as well. And once again, I was cleared, because after that tummy tuck, like, your muscles are not very strong right away, but it takes time to kind of get them back. So yeah, you do every core class leading up to surgery, that it's just one of those things that, you know, getting those muscles stronger is just going to be better. It's not going to make your tummy flat without a tummy tuck, guys. Let's be honest. Most of us have a lot of skin after surgery, so it's not going to fix that problem, but you can fix the muscles in there for sure and do some work on those muscles.
Yeah, absolutely. Donna said that nothing was better for my body post-spine fusion than functional fitness and increasing my strength. Absolutely. And that goes for any surgery. I mean, obviously, Christina's just talking about her plastic surgery there, but any surgery, whether it be a knee or a spine or a back or whatever, it absolutely is the best way to recover. Now, of course, you have to be careful that you don't overdo it, which we all, you know, have tendencies to do. You know, once you get you clear, you're good to go. Now, people who have just come out of weight loss surgery, a lot of the times we get questions on when can I start exercising, when can I start exercising? Well, first and foremost, we definitely recommend that you get your calories up before you start exerting too much exercise, because you just don't have the calories there. But as soon as you can, start walking. As soon as you can, start doing, you know, strength, no cardio. As soon as you can, because the more you're doing it, the more likely you can get through your surgery, recovery, and beyond, the better that it is.
It's Frankie. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Frankie. I'm like, that has to be. It just says Facebook user for us, but I'm like, I'm sure based on what she's saying, I'm like, that has to be Frankie.
Yeah, so Frankie said recovering fast from most patients after the low back. Yes. And it's funny because all surgeons, most you know, plastic surgeons, you know, all of them will say absolutely that's the best way to do it. I've worked with clients gearing them up to their surgery and then afterwards, and you know, I've had surgeons tell them that they're in the best shape, that, you know, it's super easy to do the surgery, and then the recovery is a lot better. It's me. I love it. Yeah, so it is really, really important. And so for those of you guys who sit here with limitations, you know, whether it be, you know, over time, chronic injuries, which is something that is just all the time, over time, or whether it's an acute injury, like I know one of our members, Michelle, she hurt her foot, she was in a boot. That's an acute injury. It's something that happens, and hopefully the boot comes off and she feels better. A chronic injury is something that happens over time that either you ignore, very, very bad at that one, or that you have had that's just going on and on and on. You can do things for both of those to really help recover from those things. But some things, like I know we have a few members who suffer from RA, which is rheumatoid arthritis. That's not something that I can wave my magic wand with exercise and say, poof, it's disappeared. But both, I know Julie and Robin, who are two that we speak about a lot, they feel better in the morning after they move their body. It might be a little bit slower, it might be a little bit, you know, more cautious, but they feel better, right? Motion is lotion, for real. I hear that, I say it, I sometimes curse myself at saying it, but it's there. If you get muscle repair, I highly recommend PT after you're cleared. Yes, I think that's Frankie again, but it is a really, really, really big one. April, I have no ligament support in my knees and have been told the only thing holding me up is the muscles around my knees. I'll be able to do the workouts because I know my limitations and I communicate actively with Lindsay. Yeah, so I work with April one-on-one, but that is a big thing, right? Even in our classes that we do, or whether you're working one-on-one in personal training or what have you, you have to be very aware of your body, right? Communicating with your body, and you're like, what do you mean? Hey, elbow. No, it's listening to what's going on, right? You can have a tweet or a thing, but you just have to be careful.
And also listening and knowing when it's time to slow it down or take a rest, which is really hard. In the last 6 months, I've made great gains in my body and how strong I am in my muscles and everything. But I tweaked my back just over a week ago. And last week, I wasn't real fabulous about listening to my back. And it was like, oh, you tweaked this. It was kind of sore. And then I didn't listen. And then it got more sore. And then by the end of last week, I was literally told no exercise for several days. I did go for a chiropractic and massage, which was great. I've been soaking in the hot tub, which has been lovely. But it was really hard to take that break when you're making so much progress and things are going so well. But you also don't want to mess up your progress by overdoing it. So I've been really focused on doing a lot of stretch the last few days and gradually coming back to exercise and allowing myself. So today I'm actually able to do a little bit, no jumping or impact still, and still no weight is the other thing. So I can basically do a bicep curl just with my arm. But, allowing myself to do a little bit of things, but just still coming back slowly. So you're not re-damaging or hurting anything. So just all of that plays into listening to your body. So knowing when it's time to rev things up and, you know, things are a little too easy for you, and then knowing when to slow things down as well. And give your body the rest that it's screaming at you for.
Super important. And again, everybody is guilty of it once or twice in their world. And of course, maybe a million times is more like my problem. But we all are guilty of it, right? And that's the thing. And that's why sometimes it's really great to have a community or a support system, like April was saying. Like, she'll send me a message and she'll say, this is what's going on. What do you think? And I'll be like, okay, well, definitely don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. But ease yourself into that and see how you feel, right? And so that's a really nice thing to have. It's funny, even Ben, so he teaches, he's my husband, for those of you guys who don't know him, he's been struggling with his foot recently, and he's just been like humming and hawing, and he finally is just like, I said to him, like, if your client came to you with your foot issue and said, I want to continue running, what would you say? He said a lot of choice words to me that were not very nice, but he's like, damn it, you're right. So I said to him, he's not allowed to run for another 7 days. And he's like,
I'm sorry for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry for me, and I'm actually sorry for anybody who takes his class over the next week, because it really is his mental outlet, so it's going to be hard. But there's no point in taking one step forward, get your run in, check your mark, get your class in, do your exercise, only to take 10 steps back. And that's what tends to happen, right? We'll push ourselves, we won't listen. And eventually your body's just like, I'm out, I'm done, I can't do anymore. And so, again, if Christina had maybe listened a little bit more at the beginning of last week and took it easy and brought her weights down a little bit and maybe went down from a modification to no jumping, she might have been better today. But instead, because we push, you push, then it's like, no exercise for the next 100 days.
And it's really hard too, because I'm pain-free today, but my chiropractor had told me to make sure that I was pain-free for at least 3 days before coming back, because you need that break. So yeah, like today I actually don't feel any pain, and I went for a walk this morning and I felt great. I teach a class here in just over an hour, and again, I am fully modifying still today. I reached out to Lindsay and Ben the other day and said, so this is what the chiropractor told me, what should I be doing? And they were like, you should be listening. This is like, you've already been told what you should be doing, but sometimes you just need that community to be able to say to you, slow it down, and you need that little bit of reassurance that you're not going to lose everything that all the gains that you've made in a week. And that's something that very much still plays in my mind, which again, I can tell a client, no problem, that, taking a week off is not going to set you back. But there's still that part of my brain that's like, I've worked so hard to get to where I am that I don't want to lose all the progress that I've made. Well, I'm not going to lose the progress in a week. That it's not going to happen.
No, and the good news is our body has muscle memory, okay? So it really does mean that your muscles are going to remember some of the stuff that you're doing. So again, what we tend to do, and this is very, very common, is it's like, okay, you can't do your exercise. Maybe somebody said you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. But there are other things you can do, and that's one of the things we were saying to Christina on the weekend, right? Stretching, yoga, Pilates, doing the movements where you're strengthening and lengthening. That's a really great way. I work with a client that I work with 5 days a week, so we do personal training 5 days a week, and there are days when her body is basically saying, I don't want to do this anymore, and we'll take a week where it's just yoga style, just stretching. She hates it because it feels like she's going backwards, but honestly, the body loves that. It needs some time to take a break. Like if you ever do a training plan, or Ben and I did a lot of triathlons and Ironmans and marathons and stuff like that, there's always built in rest weeks, which just be not stopping and doing nothing and sitting on the sofa and eating, chips, of course, but it's slowing it down, changing it up, throwing 2 yoga classes in instead of a long run, and it just gives that body an opportunity to repair and recover a little bit more. So don't ever think that if you've been told don't do this and don't do this, that there isn't things that you can do. Take the time to stretch a little bit longer. Take the time to sit in the hot tub or go for a massage or a chiropractor. Your body will thank you for it in the long run versus just boom, 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 always going, always going.
Well, and it's funny, we're doing this 50-day habit challenge in our Your Bariatric Transformation Academy right now. And so Lindsay had posted the other day her intentions for the 50-day habit challenge. And I was like, well, shit, now I have to post mine. So it was very easy for me to come up with my nutrition habit and my support habit and my mindset habit that I was like, those were really easy. But I have focused so hard on the last 6 months on my fitness. So I was like, what do I need in my fitness? Like, I'm really happy with where my fitness is at right now. I feel great about the cardio I'm doing. I just started doing long walks 5 days a week. So I was feeling really great about like all of my fitness stuff. And I'm like, I didn't feel like I had the capacity to add more weight or more workouts. I didn't want to do that. Between my long walks 5 days a week and my 5 to 6 classes a week, I'm like, I don't want to add anything else. I don't want to increase the intensity. I don't want to increase my weight. Like, I don't know what I want to do. And so we decided that I'm actually going to add two days of stretching for 20 minutes, 2 days a week. And I really feel like that's what my body needs. That when I really think about what my body's been telling me over the last month or two, that I do feel like that's what it needs. So my intention for fitness right now is adding in those yoga or stretching sessions twice a week. So everybody has some things that you can add. And I was like, that feels like a really great intention for me. So I'm going to be posting my intentions here shortly so you guys can take a look through. And if you do still want to join our 50-day habit challenge, we are kicking off today, but you can always join and do 49 days of habits if you want to join tomorrow even. But we're super stoked. So Lindsay, Ben, and I all posted our intentions in our group that we plan on doing and how we plan on checking in over the next 50 days. So we're going to be doing this right alongside you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited actually because I've been doing my habit tracking for quite a long time now and I really enjoy it. And obviously I talk a lot about habits and all of that stuff. But it's always, as Christina said earlier, it's always easier to tell other people what to do than it is to necessarily do it yourself. And so, even over the weekend, I had lots of people being like, what about this? Or how do I create this habit? The idea behind it is a small, manageable habit. And then some of the people were like, I'm going to do this. And so we were talking it through and they're like, why is this so hard? And I'm just like, seriously, I've lived and breathed habits, training, certifications, all that stuff. And I still struggle with it. So, I was like, what should I do for that? I don't know. So it's not necessarily that it's just this easy, like, let's throw this out there. The whole idea is that we want it to be a little bit challenging to try to get you thinking about it. A lot of people would send like, oh, this whole list of things. And I'd push back and I'd be like, no, I want one. And they're like, what? What? And I'm like, I want what's going to make the biggest impact over the next 50 days. It's not all of that. Even if you do all of that, it's great. But it's one that I want you to pick.
I loved one of the questions that I saw this morning when I was looking through that somebody said, I hate meal prep. It is not my thing. I don't enjoy it. Do I have to do meal prep to be part of this challenge? And we said, no. The whole amazing part of this 50-day habit challenge is that you are setting your own intentions for what you want to focus on in the next 50 days. So this person specifically liked cooking fresh every day. So meal prepping was not her jam. She's like, it's just not my thing. I don't enjoy it. I like cooking every day. So I love that you just create your own habits. And yeah, you don't have to, come to our classes all the time in order to, be successful in this challenge. And you don't have to track your macros to be successful in this challenge. And for mindset, lots of people are doing affirmations or meditation. My mindset piece is that I want to read for 20 minutes a day. That it's just something that I've sucked at since I have kids, and my kids are 6 and 8. And I used to love reading and I read all the time. And then I had kids and now I'm like, I just feel like I don't make time for that, but it's something I really enjoy. So why the hell don't I make time for it? So 50 days, I'm going to make time for 20 minutes of reading a day. And I actually did start it last night and I sucked. And it was, Dallas turned on a movie that I really wanted to watch at 8 o'clock or whatever. And starting a movie at 8 o'clock in your 30s, 40s is seems ridiculous. But we did last night. And then it was 10 o'clock when the movie was over. And I was like, no, I haven't read yet. So 20 minutes at bedtime, I read my book. And it felt really good to get it done. I did my meal prep yesterday, as I said I was going to. So all of my habits are starting to come in already. And it feels so good to just be on track with something. So even if you're not doing the habit challenge with us, which of course we encourage you to do, but set some intentions for yourself for the next however long to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you're watching this and you're like, I want to do strong as the new sexy is what I want to focus on, then do that. I mean, again, it can be going for a walk. It can be, doing a video. It can be, again, trying a class. It can be, going for a swim if you live somewhere where there's weather, swimming, I don't know, any of those things. It can be something that you can do that is, again, not going to be a massive undertaking. That's the big thing I want you to remember, right? If you've not been doing anything and you're like, I'm going to do a workout 6 days a week, I mean, I'm probably going to turn around and be like, well, that's not really that realistic because you've gone from 0 to 100, right? That's not how we work. For me, one of the things that I didn't even put on my intention, but now that I'm thinking about intentions, I'm like, I really want to work on this book that I've been talking about writing forever, which I mean literally forever. And it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I don't have the time to spend even 20 minutes. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I know I don't have the capacity to put another 20 minutes into my time, because I do meditation, I do journaling, I do the things, I practice my Spanish, I have all these things going on. So I was like, I'm going to do 3 minutes. That's what I committed to, 3 minutes. It's those tiny habits that you can do on, sitting here, finish up this call. I'm going to take 3 minutes and do some writing. On the toilet, you're going to do, it's just something that you can do that's going to not seem like a monster undertaking that you can just get done and get check mark. And because I love check marks, I have a lot of those spots to put my check marks in.
We all have little tiny pockets of time in our day. A lot of us don't have giant pockets of time to add things in. And actually, it's funny because when I was talking to Ben and Lindsay about my intentions, and I said that I wanted to do this like stretching or yoga, and Ben was like, well, there's 3 yoga classes or 3 stretching classes every week that you could come to. And I was like, I don't feel like I can commit to specific times right now. That, I mean, maybe eventually I can get there, but right now I just don't feel like that fits in my life. But to be able to commit to 20 minutes felt okay to me, but only twice a week. Initially I had said 3, and then when I started to look at my calendar, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to fit those 3 in. So then I committed to 2. So I'm like, okay, 2 felt good, and at random times, and sometimes that is going to be the 20 minutes before I go to sleep at night, that's where it's going to fit in my world. So I'm like, I need to be able to find these places where things are going to fit. But everybody has these little pockets of time. Like Lindsay said, 3 minutes here, 2 minutes there. And we tend to, I mean, if you think about the time that you spend mindlessly scrolling on this every day, there is pockets of time. And so I have tried to cut down my mindless scrolling on there and to try to make that time more focused. And Lindsay had said, I think it was in last week's coffee chat when we were talking about, like, every time you go into the bathroom, do 5 squats, or every time you do that, like, adding these little micro habits in that are then going to get you to your bigger goals. So if your goal is to add more strength training, then yeah, I mean, Ben put in his, if he wants to do a minimum, I think it was a lot of push-ups, but most of us aren't going to start where Ben is. But if you wanted to, get more strength in your chest and shoulders and arms, then you could do, every time I go into the kitchen, I'm going to do 5 push-ups off of before I have a snack, I'm going to do 5 push-ups off the counter. That there's little micro habits that you could throw in that are going to start making it to your bigger habits. So just trying to find those pockets of time. If you're like, I'm the busiest person on earth and there's no more time in my day that I can't add anything, then, you do have little tiny pockets of time that you can throw things in, but you might not have 20 minutes, like Lindsay said, to be able to set aside another 20 minutes of this. But 4 minutes, 5 times a day is 20 minutes.
Right. And I think that's a big thing. I mean, as Christina said, like, so it definitely is one of the behaviors of, one of the laws of behavior change is to say, I will at Tuesday at 6:30 attend a stretch class. Like, that definitely does help, but only if that doesn't overwhelm your day, right? So for me, with my writing, I will do this at this time every single day, because that, again, just feels too much for me. So now my intention is I will write at least 3 minutes every day. When that is, I don't know. And so there are, like Christina said, there have been many days when I'm doing my intentions and I have my habit tracker that I track at the end of the day before I turn off my everything, that I'm like, oh crap, I forgot that. And so then I'm like, okay, scrambling to do it. It's not ideal, but you definitely want to get it done.
So Debbie just asked, 5 squats or push-ups make a difference.
Again, it does over time. It really does make a difference. I mean, so one of the books that I read and I recommend to everybody is called Tiny Habits. Funny enough that Christina kind of talked about micro habits, which is the same idea, is that he started with just one. And he basically said that just one starts the momentum of more. So 5 over 4 times a day is right there. Like, that's enough.
If you think of the push-ups, that 5 push-ups off your counter, and I'm just saying off your counter because you're in your kitchen. So every time you go to make a meal or a snack in your kitchen, which if you ask the nutrition coach, should be 6 times a day. So if you're going into your kitchen 6 times a day and doing 5 push-ups, you're doing 30 push-ups in a day. So, I mean, that adds up. Every time you go to the bathroom, before you sit on the toilet, you do 5 squats, how many times a day do you go to the bathroom? I mean, some days for me, it's 900. So that would be a lot of squats. That those things are going to add up, and 5 squats at a time is going to seem like nothing. Like Debbie said, like most of us are going to think that's not going to do anything. But when you're doing it multiple times a day, And it's, you know, 5 squats would maybe take you 10 seconds. Like it's not going to take you that long to do, maybe 15 seconds if you space them out. But whatever, it's not going to take very long to do that. So you're going to be done very, very quickly. But if you do it 6, 10, however many times a day, it's going to make a difference. And again, just thinking about your own personal goals. I mean, maybe it's not squats, maybe it's not push-ups, maybe it's writing, maybe it's, you know, whatever. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's the affirmations that we're talking about, you know, of telling yourself that you're good enough, that every time you walk by a mirror, you're going to stop and do that. But there's all kinds of these little tiny micro habits. So don't think of habits as these giant things that you have to change, and you have to cut out sugar, and you have to stop drinking coffee, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. That habits can be these tiny little things. So, all right, we are running out of time.
We are. I'm just going to quickly put on that very quickly. So one of the things that we talk about in our intentions for the 50-day habit challenge is putting a minimum of. So I will do a minimum of 5 squats, which then means if you're already there and you're in the mindset to do a few more, you can. But if you're not, you don't, right? Like I journal every day. There are honestly some days that in my journal it says, this is my journal entry, and that is it. Because that's all I can bring up myself that day. But it still counts because I put my pen to paper and that was my journaling habit, right? If you want to have it, if you want to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, but a minimum of then allows you that if you're feeling good, you can do more. If you're not, you've done your minimum and you get your check mark. So just keep that in mind as we go. All right, guys, so you know, Thursdays, you have an email coming your way. Saturdays is our blog post coming your way. Again, don't forget to check those out. And if you are interested and you haven't yet got to the 50-day habit challenge, definitely come and join us because we are kicking off today. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited to do it. Any last words there, Christina?
Scholarship.
Oh, yes, scholarship. See, we always forget this. So I posted yesterday and forgot to put the link. Sorry about that. That's a Sunday error. A few people sent me a message like, how are we supposed to apply for this? Anyways, I did put the link. We'll repost it again today. We are hosting a scholarship. One of our fantastic members who wishes to remain anonymous wants to gift one member the opportunity to come to the 50-day habits challenge. So the scholarship application, yeah, for free. The scholarship application is really just you telling us a little bit about you, why you need this, that kind of thing. And we are going to pick a winner and we're going to announce it. But we're super excited for you. So if you are sitting there wondering, you know, oh, I'd really like to do this, but financially I'm just not in the right place, apply for the scholarship. You have nothing to lose.
Perfect. All right. We will see you guys again next Monday. Enjoy.
Have a good one.